Before the Storm is the lead up to the two-part finale of Season 1. And the fact that we're even talking in terms of the season finale says that Beast Wars has really worked to emphasize story here, which is definitely the right move. The introduction of transforming robots into the American toy market was a novelty, but the animated series that accompanied it no doubt went a long way towards making it a true success. There was a miniseries that kicked that off, and there was a 4-part story arc in the middle of Season 1, and a 5-part reinvention of the series in the wake of the film for Season 3, and a season which included the 2-part conclusion that I alluded to in my last review, The Return of Optimus Prime, which we'll be getting to eventually as well. The point is, while there were certainly some less than stellar moments in that series, and Season 2's move towards standalone episodic tales rather than story arcs is in some ways a narrative step backwards, nevertheless, one of the great strengths of the Transformers as a franchise was its strength of story, investing its audience in the characters and concepts. I would argue that Beast Wars had an even tougher job. Reinventing the Transformers into solely animal toys was a controversial decision. Now they had to try to turn this show into an effective vehicle, no pun intended, for showcasing this new toy line. Frankly, I would have balked at the possibility of pulling this off. Yet what we have seen so far shows that, with the obvious exception of the rhinoceros fart, they frequently aim for more sophisticated storytelling. There's been minor things running in the background of episodes, things that are now coming to a head as it's building towards this season-ending conclusion. Keep in mind that Voyager, which was running at the same time as this show, was afraid of pulling these kinds of things. I'm not bringing that up to bash Voyager here, just to show how, much like its contemporary Gargoyles, Beast Wars was willing to make use of the kind of storytelling elements that even a live-action show was nervous about trying. Anyway, I should probably get to the episode at some point, which begins with Megatron spying a weird-looking mountain. Elsewhere, Megatron is taking a little nap. What the? I'm no doctor, but that does not look healthy.
Attention, Megatron.
Your arm has become self-aware again. Damn it, as if I don't have enough people around here scheming behind my back. Now my own arm is plotting against me. Yes. The reason for this wake-up call is that this energy anomaly of alien origin, clearly the kind of thing Megatron would want to get his hands on. Well, one hand anyway, can't trust righty anymore. So he sends Inferno in, another addition to the Predacon team, who is an ant and consequently can tunnel into the area to locate the anomaly, which is a golden disc. This is significant because Megatron came here because of a golden disc that was supposed to lead to Energon, so it's a pretty big coincidence if those things aren't related.
Go repair yourself. I have much to think on.
Yes, my queen.
I wish she wouldn't call me that.
Yeah, they may be trying to take over the universe and destroy all freedom, but that's no reason to throw around homophobic slurs. Optimus also flew out to check out the energy anomaly. Megatron reported it to the Maximals, but Megatron spots him while he's out there and sends him a holographic message. It's a giant image of his head, or a scaled-down version of his ego, whatever you think is more likely. He wants to have a meeting with Optimus in person to discuss, believe it or not, a truce.
Things have arisen. Things which require my undivided attention. To be blunt, Optimus Primal, I have no time to waste on Maximals.
Alright, well, let's discuss the terms of this truce to ensure that this is not just an opportunity for you to attempt to get some kind of advantage in the future for... Oh, I guess a truce means you want an unconditional timeout. The others can't believe they're going along with this.
What could I do? He was right. I'm a Maximal. I have to give peace a chance.
Look, peace is a good thing. I am not knocking peace here. But if it's going to cost you more peace in the long term to have it right now, then sadly, war now is the preferable option, so you're not just delaying the inevitable. If you're in a bar fight and the other guy is willing to fight dirty at every opportunity, and then you're finally winning, you don't stop just because he says he wants a timeout to call up all his friends and tell them how sorry he is that he would pick a fight with someone. Odds are much better that he's calling them to come and give you an ass-kicking. Likewise, a truce needs some kind of assurance that this isn't a ploy. Just taking it because it's offered would be foolhardy. Still, Optimus Primal may be leaping into this a bit too quickly, but at least he has the good sense to keep tabs on what Megatron is doing, especially considering the timing of this. Meanwhile, Megatron is not the only one with duplicitous plans. Tarantulas is duplicating Megatron's voice in order to steal a transwarp cell. But Waspinator catches him in the act, so it's a battle of wits between an amoral mad scientist and a guy whose motto is no doubt, "Why does the universe hate my groin so much?" Naturally, Tarantulas wins, announcing what he's doing. It's not a plan against Megatron, it's a plan to leave the planet. But Megatron is aware of exactly what's going on.
That spider has hacked his way into my data tracks. And obviously he has his own plans for dealing with the situation. Yes. Normally I would punish such treachery. But in this case, it may be advantageous to let him play out the hand.
There are many ways to provide the audience exposition, but I'm fairly certain that no one else has ever provided it by explaining their evil plan to their own hand. Megatron could only get weirder if he started using it like a puppet. Maybe this blossoming friendship was something for the target audience. I mean, I'm sure many of the teenage boys watching at that time were becoming good friends with their right hands. So he explains to his hand that he's putting Black Arachne onto Tarantulas' trail to try to provide some insurance that things will go his way. Lord knows he's got enough problems already. Besides the treachery and the crazy Energon stuff around the Golden Disc, AirRaiser is delivering Rat Trap to the Predacon base to infiltrate it to try to figure out what's going on. At least there are automated defenses to deal with that, and everyone seems to be operating under the principle that so long as you are not using a gun on someone, you are not breaking the truce. So they're unarmed in the face of the automated defenses. Fortunately, Megatron shuts the cannons down after a little while, offering a, "Let me apologize for my guns shooting at you for violating my airspace," to make it clear that she and Rat Trap should go piss off elsewhere. They return to report their miserable failure to Optimus, only we soon deduce that failure was actually part of the plan, which is good because frankly that's one point this team could usually bank on. Elsewhere, we have a brief interlude as Tarantulas has finished his work on that transwarp cell, and just in time for when Black Arachne arrives, bringing Waspinator's head. Alas, poor dumbass, I knew him well. But while they're sharing an uncomfortable moment, Megatron is doing one of the things he's best at, monologuing about his megalomania. The disc has revealed to him that there are possibilities far beyond what he had imagined he could do by acquiring the Energon here. And you can bet it's nothing good. Megatron hasn't suddenly realized the benefits of a good recycling program. We find out that the reason for this failure earlier was so that Tigatron could sneak in during the distraction that those two created in their attempt to actually infiltrate the place and discover what Megatron is up to. He plugs into the system, which has a virtual reality interface, leading to an icon that requires you to fix it like a Rubik's Cube to create Megatron's head. Can't help but get the feeling he's a little bit of a narcissist. Inside, he spots the Golden Disc, but he is also spotted by Terrorsaur, who is not above bringing his gun despite the truce. But Tigatron gets away anyway because competence really isn't the name of the game today.
Get him! Get him! But no shooting. We are having a truce, remember?
I think this is going to end in a pie-in-the-face contest. Soon Tigatron is surrounded. Oh, what will he do? See previous point about competence. This problem cuts both ways because Optimus Primal gives a similar order to Megatron's. Stop all of the Predacons that are chasing Tigatron, but don't use any weapons. So this requires Looney Tunes counter-strategy. And I am not exaggerating. Suddenly dropping out of the sky to the desert floor, crushed by the impossibly fast rock, even... With all this going on, the thought passed my mind, I've got no problem with this. I just really hope we don't have another Rhinox gas attack. And then, as if on cue, this happens. I'll admit, for a second I honestly thought they were going to do it again. puts me into a bit of a difficult bind when I start the review praising the sophistication, and as we approach the end, am grateful that being sat on by a fat beast isn't accompanied by a fart gag. But as the Predacons go dragging their wounded back to base, we find out that Megatron too was counting on failure. These two have really become genre savvy, haven't they? He wanted them to learn about the discs because what the Maximals learn is shocking. As far back as the first story, they noticed some strange stone constructs, and these, plus the Energon, were placed here in service of aliens that are returning. The field Tigatron saw was the beacon activating to draw them back, and presumably to kick the asses of everybody here. Which leads us into our two-part finale, Other Voices, which we'll get to next week.
All hail the Overlord! All hail the Overlord!
My dear Airraiser, my humblest apologies. No doubt you are simply flying a routine patrol. Yes, I shall have the defenses shut down immediately.